Thank you very much, Chair of the Iebc selection panel. Thank you, distinguished members of the panel. Chair, I'm happy to be referred to by whatever is convenient to a particular member at a particular moment, so that's not an issue for me. Let me begin, Chair and distinguished members of the panel, by appreciating that I have been given this opportunity to interview for the office that I have applied for by way of being shortlisted and being given this opportunity to appear before you this afternoon. My name is Charles Nyachae. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya for the last over 30 years. I began my career as a state counsel in the office of the Attorney General. I was there briefly for about 2 years, after which I ventured into practice, private practice, by establishing a law firm with another colleague. We were both young lawyers. And I practiced law privately between 1986 up to the end of 2010, when I took leave of absence from the law firm. During the time that I practiced law, personally, I was more a non-litigation lawyer. I rarely did litigation. I mainly did commercial work and things like banking law, property, insurance, that sort of area, although the law firm was and remains a general law firm. I'm still on leave of absence from the law firm. End of 2010, as members of the panel, of course, will remember in August of 2010, the people of Kenya gave to themselves a then new constitution, the Constitution of Kenya 2010. And one of the bodies that was established by that constitution was a transitional body known as a Commission for the Implementation of the Constitution, whose main role was to coordinate and oversee the implementation of the 2010 Constitution. When the time came for Kenyans to apply to that body, I did apply, and I was privileged to have been given the opportunity to serve as chairperson of that commission, which I did from end of 2010 to the end of 2015. During the period during the period while I was practicing law, aside from the mainstream practice of law, in the late 1980s, I got interested in and gradually became passionate about the then reform process that was taking place in this country. And between that period, all the time that I was practicing law, I engaged often quite intimately with the reform process, the democratization process, through mainly institutions like the Law Society of Kenya, where I served as a member of the council. I also engaged in the process of reform and democratization within the context of non-governmental organizations, and in particular the the international ICJ, the International Commission of Jurists, of which I was an active member, and the Kenya section, I chaired for a while. The focus on rule of law and the promotion of democracy. I also was invited by the late Senior Counsel Grace Githu to join her together with some other members to found an NGO called the Institute for Education in Democracy, where I was a member, and at some point I chaired the IED. I was, allow me to say, I was privileged to work with one of the panelists, Dr. Koki Muli. I learned a lot in that context on everything that surrounds elections, electoral processes, electoral reforms. It gave me a good insight. I would never pretend that, like Dr. Muli, I didn't become an expert, but I got a deep insight, and that helped me to understand the processes and to develop also an interest in the whole electoral process and the management of elections. So, Mr. Chair, members of the panel, I go back then to beginning of 2011. I, with 8 other colleagues, we served as members of the Commission for the implementation of the Constitution. Basically, I can say because that was a commission that had just been established as a transitional mechanism by the Constitution, started it from scratch. I thank God that I had a good team, and I think by and large, when we look back, we think we did a decent job at the Commission in terms of mainly working with the other mandated bodies like the Attorney General, Parliament, and the various stakeholders to write laws to implement the 2010 Constitution. And in that process, I feel that my passion for the Constitution of Kenya 2010, which passion had started in the campaign to get a new constitution, I feel that in those 5 years, my passion grew even higher, and that passion of that constitution, Mr. Chairman, members of the panel, continues to date. So, not to take too long, we served until the end of 2015 when the term of the commission came to an end. After I left CIC, after a small break, I took a brief but unsuccessful excursion into elective politics, but it was a good experience. It helped me also to understand politics at a more ground-based level. In February of 2018, I was appointed to be a judge of the East African Court of Justice, an appointment which took effect from the 1st of July of 2018. I served on that court for a period of 5.5 years. The term was, my term was for 7 years, but for reasons which, if the panel wishes me to explain, I will explain. I did not finish the 7 years. I left in January of 2024. and came back to Kenya because the court is based in Arusha, Tanzania. And I came back to do my own private things, a little bit of consultancy, a little bit of writing, a little bit of studying. In the meantime, soon after I came back, I was appointed to chair the council of the Kenya School of Government, where I still am as chair of the council. Of course, I think it's probably necessary to state that if I were to find favor with this panel, as well as the appointing authority, then obviously to comply with the law, I would, before appointment, relinquish that position. Mr. Chairman, I maybe will pause there in terms of who I am and await further questions from you and the panel.